Hello, everyone. My name is Uroš Novak. I will be moderating this roundtable with the title of Is a Plastic Waste-Free Lifestyle an Utopia or the Future? This roundtable is part of the Remedies project, and I'm very happy to be able to invite my colleagues, my friends, and people that really put a lot of efforts in those topics. They're covering from the individual perspective to the, let's say, not be optimistic global, but national one. So with us, we have Bart Stegeman, who is a Slovenian orchestrator for the circular economy and value chain transformation at AAT Climate-KIC. Bart. Matej Feguš, owner and design manager of one of the most successful Slovenian companies, Donar. Mr. Blatnik, center from the Jožef Stefan Institute, from the Department for Technology Transfer and Innovation. Ms. Katja Sreš, president of Ecologists Without Borders Association. And Petra Jerič, scientist against plastic, National Institute of Chemistry. So, welcome you all. I've written down something about you, so we will go like that. I will just first give the words to the youngest one, Petra. Please take the mic. So, Petra has a bachelor's degree in textile and fashion design. She's an awarded fashion designer and researcher of sustainable fashion alternatives with the use of biodegradable plant-based biomaterials. Her mission in life is, due to the pollution created by the textile and fashion industry, her mission is to create entirely sustainable fashion materials and products that will be friendly to humans, to human physical and mental health, nature, and all species in the world. Becoming an entrepreneur producing biomaterials and fashion accessories is her goal. Besides that, Petra is also female. Did you know that she also supports and empower other young entrepreneurs? Because men run even the fashion industry. This is her statement. Although women mostly consume it. So let's start with an individual who wants to change the world. Petra, what is your biggest challenge we are facing to be so brave and try to fight all those issues?
I started to create biomaterials because I realized that in fashion, the textiles that we use nowadays all have some kind of problem. For example, a lot of them are environmentally unfriendly, or they are not good for our health, they are not made ethically, and so on. My challenge was to create a material that is good from all these perspectives. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, but you know, it's not. I will not say it's mission impossible, but it's very difficult. So, who you want to address it? Who will be your consumers? Who will be your go-to market? Who is the one who wants to persuade? Because textile industry is one of the strongest we have.
Yes, of course. My customers would be people who are aware of these problems in fashion, firstly, but then one day I hope more people would start to consume it.
Yeah. So, since you're very successful in what you do, so you're high fashion, awarded many times, you have many awards. So, where do you see yourself in the future? Where is the gaps that you want to fulfill? Is this a science base about the material? It's more like a business, or is just the creativity or understanding how what people need, what people want, what will be the next big thing in the 5 years? What do you think?
Firstly, the material needs to be improved, in its physical properties. And then to put it on the market, of course, it will need to deal with other much cheaper materials that are today out there, like synthetic materials that are, of course, way cheaper. So yes, in the next 5 years, I will probably deal with these issues, but I hope I will be able to create the materials and we'll be able to produce fashionable accessories and bags first.
Okay, thank you. So now let's go to one of the persons who already make some effort into it. So Mr. Feguš. Matej Feguš has extensive experience with the development of innovative business models that create values for employees, environment, and society. He's an owner of the Donar company, one of the most acclaimed Slovenian furniture manufacturers, and a company that built a strong customer base with its world-class Slovenian design, materials, and business ethics. The company has been awarded several international awards from the field of design and sustainability, like Red Dot Design Award winner, German Innovation Award, and Green Product winner, and so on. Matej brings a wealth of experience, of knowledge in building relationship of trust with customers and deep understanding of sustainable consumption patterns. So this is my question, how to, because you succeeded, you have now a very successful brand, but can you somehow continue the story that Petra started from perspective of the company that you are created and so on? So what is the challenges for you as a...
I mean, the biggest challenge is decision making that like we had to make now 7 years ago in company Donar, that we're not going to produce any of the products that are not sustainable. But not sustainable as we talk every day, but seriously sustainable. So we're not just looking at materials, we're looking energy consumption. We are the first company with 6-hour workday, so we see that as a whole. So I think that the most difficult is a decision to go on that path, because it's not easy. You have to talk to clients, not just about the price, but about what products bring to them. So once we decided that what we want to do, and that in the future we need to be really strict how we do it and why we do it, then it gets a little bit easier, but it's never easy. I mean, it's not supposed to be easy at the beginning, but I believe that the future brings when people will have to decide either we want to live a normal, sustainable life, or we want to constantly fight against climate change, floods and stuff that we can see every day. I mean, even today we have the warmest winter in Slovenia. There's no snow in the mountains. That means that what's going to happen when there's not going to be water and so on.
Yeah, but is this good for business or bad for business?
It depends on perspective. I mean, it's good for our business because we can address an issue that is out there. So when we have especially the big clients who care about their customers, then we can talk about sustainability. If we talk just about the price, then we only talk about circular economy, how to repair products, how to reuse products. So there's an answer for everybody. You just need to take time for that conversation.
Okay, thank you. So let's continue with Mr. Blatnik from the Institute of Jožef Stefan. So Robert Blatnik is a senior technology manager at the Jožef Stefan Institute. He helps researchers to protect and license their technologies, establish collaborative projects with industry, and create spin-off companies, which he has already helped to establish, I think, 12, which is quite an impressive number. He participated in the preparation of the recommendations of the Enterprise Europe Nectar Working Group for ISME and for the European Commission DG GROW for measure and financing activities support fast-growing companies in Europe. He holds a master's degree in computer science and telecommunication, and you have the postgraduate degree from the MIT Sloan School of Management in Boston, and you are a certified licensing professional. So, there's maybe 5 people like you in Slovenia, right? Or even less. Yeah, so you're unique.
I hope not.
So, yeah. So I'm from Research Institute, and let's put a number. So in Slovenia, we have 11,000 scientists, let's say. How many companies do we create per year? Not enough.
With scientists, scientific spin-outs, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I can't speak for whole Slovenia, but I can say on average in Jožef Stefan Institute, we have 1 or 2 companies per year. On average, we are dealing with this organized way since 2010, when our tech transfer office was founded. But previously, since the 90s, when Slovenia entered in the I would say in business environment with new system, in Jožef Stefan Institute was funded probably 50 companies by researchers or alumni researchers. So companies based on knowledge which was created or invented at Jožef Stefan Institute. So to answer your question, I mean, there is probably in similar institutes in Slovenia, I would say, if there is 10 institutes in universities, I would say 5 to 10 companies.
Okay, I'll put another question here, which is very important. So, can this company change the future? What is science doing? Science is doing to think in the future. So this is not the question. Very important one. Okay, is that just the business part, or how they are like making the success on the market?
Of course, especially in deep tech, if you want to create a sustainable business, you need to have product which is changing and bringing value to society. And without that, probably you won't be successful. So, of course, we are in advantage in public research institutions, because whatever we are dealing with, technologies, knowledge, there is some aim at least, or something that it can benefit to the society. And of course, this is a ground where we start. So, of course, yes, the question was, of course, positive. Yeah.
Okay, so Katja. So let's go to someone, okay, although, okay. Katja Sreš is an environmentally and NGO bias communicator and president of the Ecologists Without Borders Association, who believes in the power of small steps. Maybe it's nothing to do with your size, but still, small steps, it's very important in zero waste. As a lecturer and the president of the Ecologists Without Borders, she is familiar with the whole spectrum of the waste management challenge. While as a project manager, she is especially focusing on topics of waste food, fast fashion, citizen science, and zero waste. So, you heard the speakers before. What is with the waste? It's good, bad, or it's a business opportunity?
We have to know that each one of us is responsible for the waste. Each one of us produces the waste, and it's our responsibility to do everything that we can to lower those numbers, to work on zero waste mentality, to work on circular economy, to look at new ways how we can prolong the lifetime of the items we have. For example, I'm today clothed in second-hand clothes. I came by an electrical car. Those are those small steps, and if everybody from us does them, we can make an impact.
Okay. Before I give you another question, I want to introduce Mr. Bart Stegeman. So, he's quite famous person here, although he's alive in Slovenia, although he's not Slovenian. You're from Belgium, right?
Also Slovenian.
You're Slovenian, that's good. He's responsible to bring system innovation for the Slovenian transition to a circular economy. So Slovenia as a country, we're not a big country, but we have a mission. You will explain it a little bit more. So how everything that was set, it's on the global set, on the systematic thinking. Can you explain how this will happening? It's already happening. We got a lot of support from the IT Climate-KIC funds. So what's the transition? How it's going?
Thank you, Uroš, for a very nice question. And yes, also Slovenian and Dutch, so dual citizen. I'm proud to be in Slovenia because I think that with the current local and regional activities that's going on in Slovenia, we really create the ground for those kind of systemic changes. So as a small intro, EIT Climate-KIC together with the Slovenian government is rolling out a project that's called Deep Demonstration, where we basically focus on a systemic change of certain value streams in Slovenia and implementing the circular economy in all of them. And where circular economy is not the right tool to be implemented, make at least sure that the sustainability aspect of that value chain is very high on the agenda. And I think, yes, with all what was said before, systemic changes and interconnectedness with all the so-called levers of change that makes those habits change, that make those small steps happen, that make the, let's say, consumers of certain products making the right choices. It's not enough just to have singular projects that focus on one specific action or, how should I say, not taking in account the whole environment as such. So, in these systemic changes, what we see is that we are aware of the so-called levers of change: politics, education, finance, R&D technologies, science, IT solutions. And we are also perfectly able to pinpoint, let's say, the biggest pains in Slovenia. So if we speak about plastic waste, we know exactly how much plastic waste in Slovenia we produce. But now it comes to basically the third axis of the whole systemic change. What are the underlying ways of thinking and structures that create barriers that we need to overcome? So why does not every, let's say, public building buys the chairs from Donar? What is behind? Is it the price? Is it the politics? Is it the certain way of procurement? Now, what is behind that creates those barriers? Which barriers do we have? For example, why don't we all have electric cars yet? And what are the barriers behind them to make that happen? And one example, I think also in, for example, transition to cleaner energy. There is a plan to have another windmill in the area of Divača, yeah? And it's a perfect example of a NIMBY, not in my backyard, yeah? Because that windmill will not come there due to several reasons, yeah? Several obstructions in this area, which has underlying causes. It's not like, the value of my house will be lower, or we have a UNESCO site in the neighborhood. We are not yet on the level of really understanding why in Slovenia we act the way like we act. And I think in the whole spectrum of analyzing what is lacking, which areas we do not tap in yet, there we have the biggest opportunity to evolve as a society.
Yeah, so this is a second question for you, Katja. You're very loud as an NGO. Explain what you did to Slovenia 10 years ago.
So, 10 years ago, in the year 2010, we managed to gather 14% of the population to go out and clean up the waste in one day. So it was a huge success that we repeated in 2012 and 2018. So I think we are quite good at communicating and motivating people to do something. I think it was also the right time to do such an action, as it was right after the financial crisis. We needed some kind of a thing to connect the community again. So I have to admit that the action in 2018 wasn't that successful anymore, because people are already fed up with cleaning after the other people. So that was our flagship project, but it showed us that it's not enough that we each year go to the woods and clean up the waste after the others. We have to do a lot more on prevention of changing the society. Yeah, as Bart was talking about the specific of Slovenians. Especially the Slovenian guests here can now probably relate to the debates about food and what should we eat, and our government is proposing to eat less meat, and everybody is like totally emotional about this topic, and I can relate that to the topic of food waste. I was doing my master's degree on reading the comments of newspaper online reports about food waste, and everybody was just saying, no, I'm not wasting food, the neighbor is doing that, oh, the newspaper is lying, no, the shops are wasting more. So we can be quite emotional about some topics. So it's really important that we also know a bit about the psychology, how to talk with people, how to persuade them. And maybe it's the best thing that we don't talk about waste, that we don't talk about some climate issues, but that we show them, okay, the Donar chair is a sexist, sustainable chair, and it's great to have those items in your home. So just to leave the climate impact on the side. So yeah.
I totally agree. Also, I started the Science Against Plastic 6 years ago. It was not the right time. Now it's the right time. Now everyone is listening. But we also got some projects, but 5 years ago, yeah, making plastic, it's so good for us that we will not change our business model. So maybe to Matej, another question. Maybe you can just give a follow-up what is already said in regards to your vision. So, we were in one round table when I met you, and, you use the word sustainability a lot. So then I came and said sustainability is fake because it's, every 5 years, different wordings will appear. Now it's sustainability and people will, what meant to it? Everything's sustainable, nothing's changing. So now I think the keyword is zero waste or something else. Do you also think about that, these cycles that people in their logic, in their consumerism think?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's the way we operate. It's what we called trends, and then we call mega trends. So I guess sustainability now is one of the mega trends, but it has to have a positive effect. So, I mean, what we started is in design field, we started a field of compassion design. So talking about exactly what Katja was saying, how we'll build the future society. So it's going to be built on egoism, just thinking what I do and how I do it, and it's everybody else's fault. Or we're going to implement compassion of thinking how we can contribute to a better future society. So I think of course, it's about us. Of course, we have to make the changes, but we all constantly have to think about how can we improve. And for me, that's the major goal, not just me personally, but how can I affect business, how can I affect people in the company, clients, partners, and everybody else. So I think it's more about talking, when we talk about sustainability, about how to get a constant change for the better. I think that's... The only thing we have to decide is what is better. And for me, I always say when I talk to politicians, we have to set a goal. Honestly, I don't give a shit if we go left or right, if we know the direction where we are going. So it's just about deciding what's the future we want to live in.
Okay. Petra, you're a young generation, you have a vision. What about your brand, Vibre? Explain a little bit about it and what you aim to change, what you're bringing to the table, not just sustainability, something more.
Yes, so the biomaterials that I'm creating, next to being environmentally friendly, I'm adding new components to the materials, for example, pleasant smell or pleasant touch, so that it improves users' the way how they feel. It improves their physical how they feel. Yes, and with that, I hope that they will appreciate the clothes more and will be more attached to them, so they will keep them for a longer time. And yes, the other component is also that clothes are unisex, because I believe in the future these barriers will also vanish. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Blatnik. So, take a microphone. Yeah. You wrote me in the email that there's also some companies related to that topic emerging more and more. Before you mentioned deep tech, but what about those who are like aiming to really transform the game, like innovative material, biomaterial, something against plastic and so on? Because this is like a, as I said before, it's like a trend, you know. There are a few years there and so on. So it's, what's your opinion on that? So how the scientific community is, are they ahead of it, or they're like sometimes, okay, they have some good ideas, patent in the drawer, and then take it out when it's the right time. This is also what we can do. So what's your opinion on that? What's your perspective? What do you think?
Yes, well...
right timing to put it science the market.
Well, I think that, of course, scientific community is ahead in thinking it's creating trends in the technologies which are later transformed into products. So, of course, we are part of it. And you mentioned some companies or at least technologies which we are dealing with. There is a lot of technologies which are created at Jožef Stefan Institute, also other institutes which are aiming at reducing waste, pollution, etc. For us as technology transfer office, we want to help researchers to bring the technology into market, and we see the factors as less pollution, ecological aspects as additional asset which brings value to these products, which we want to help researchers to bring to the market. So in this sense, we have annual competition, pitch competition, which we started in 2010. And each year we invite international experts in technology transfer, venture capital, and other experts in commercialization of technologies, and they assess the technologies which researchers are bringing into the competition, and we are helping them to develop at least first version of business model, and then to create a pitch in front of the public audience, and then they get rewarded. And this is their first, for most of them, their first touch with the market, with the creation of value for the market. And as a coincidence, as you probably mentioned, last year there were two technologies, and both were awarded for innovativeness, and they're having great aspect in environment, reducing waste and environment pollution. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's also one trend, because most of you here, it's also helping others, mentoring and so on, through scientific expertise, to business models, or as successful businessman, or as an enthusiast in the environment. So what we see now also that people want to go back to innovation. You know, they're successful at the business, reach some peak. I want to something change in my life. I want to become entrepreneur back. In Remedies, we'll have a special program for those called Plastic Fantastic. So, Bart, what's your thoughts on that? So, usually, as a Climate-KIC, you also then support those startups and so on. What's your opinion? Is it, okay, team is the most important factor, obviously, for a successful startup, also idea, but when you're encountering those companies, those ideas, those individuals coming to you, is there any difference where they're coming from, or they're more experienced or not? Can you explain maybe to the larger audience what's the best to approach if you go to the investors and so on?
In general, the entrepreneurs who have a great idea, who want to start a business, it was nice because you spoke about collaboration and helping people, and at a Slice of Pizza we were part of a very nice debate on how to make a pitch or how to make a business proposal even better and better. And I think that in general, entrepreneurs who have a great idea, who see business opportunity, they will get to the point of either pitching or either finding a certain kind of financial support to make it happen, at least in the start. As we all know that approximately 10% of all startups in this area, they succeed. But the spirit and the energy that is there to really make it start, we don't see any issue here. From Climate-KIC, we have several accelerator programs where we focus and we, let's say, mentor, financially support, and basically kickstart the development of certain sustainable or circular products. And let's say it's always difficult to choose the right ones. Yeah, so there's so much also competition in this field that we do not see a big issue here, because there will always be front runners who will think of something new. And I even think that with the Remedies project that you have, also there one part is this entrepreneurship feeling and energy that will definitely support this. Although I think that for a real success of businesses in general, and the issue is that they only find out when it's too late. That, okay, in the beginning, having the right team is very, very important. Having the right idea is very important. But when it comes to the moment of, hey, do we have all the same values? Are we, let's say, articulating our values all together in the right direction? And what we see a lot is that, especially in smaller teams, that in the beginning everybody is adrenaline, energy, and then there comes a period where people stop cooperating. Why? Because apparently they run into this barrier of common values and common goals, how to go forward. And I think in this, let's say, soft skills of entrepreneurship, because everybody is able to make a business plan or make a market research. I mean, those competences are present a lot. But the soft skills, how to cooperate, how to create a certain value sets that resonates through the whole product and company that you are developing, I think here we have a very big opportunity. And it's even not only on entrepreneurship, but the competence or the capacity to cooperate is something that also at this famous COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, where all the world leaders were having a nice party with their private jets in a very warm Egypt, they encountered that the aspiration and the willingness to cooperate is there. The capacity and the competences how to cooperate, also let's say in a microenvironment, there is a very big gap which we still can fill. And I think in Slovenia we have the right, let's say, composition where we can very easily and fast close this gap, because everybody knows everybody here. So this is definitely no problem. So the capabilities, the capability gap to cooperate, I think we can close very fast.
Yeah, you mentioned before slice of pizza, Remedies already initiated one potential startup. First spin-off from University of Maribor, so I'm quite happy that this idea already maybe will come to life. And yeah, thinking about food, Katja, you're fighting against waste food, food waste, and so on. But tell me more about the zero waste concept and how this is implemented in Slovenia. Are we the best here in Europe?
Yes, we are. Of course. No, but yeah, zero waste, I will talk more about it later in my motivational speech, so please stay here. It will be, I hope, full, very motivational and interesting. So, yeah, Ecologists Without Borders, we are the National Zero Waste Organization for Slovenia. We are part of the Zero Waste Europe network, which is gathering together municipalities, businesses, especially in the field of tourism, who are going on the path towards zero waste. We have to know there is no zero waste because waste will always be there. We will always talk about waste. We even talk about waste in space, about digital waste. So waste will always be a topic.
Waste of time.
Yes, also waste of time, of course. So it's just the perspective how we are dealing with natural resources and how we are preventing waste, what we are doing. Are we doing enough in the field of reuse, on repair, exchanging things? As I said, prolonging the lifetime of items we have in our lives, and also how many items do we have and do we need in general. So yeah, there is a general goal definition that for zero waste it means that you separately collect more than 90% of waste. But that's not the only criteria, and I really don't want to talk about numbers because they are in the end not important. They just show us if we are doing good or if we are doing bad. So yeah, we have in Slovenia now 16 municipalities towards zero waste. We are covering almost a quarter of Slovenian population, so that's even more than in our cleanup actions. We have the first certified municipalities in the world. We are the country with the most certified municipalities. So we are now witnessing in the last 2 years an inflation of study visits from all over the world who are coming to take a look at our good practices on the local level and also on the business level. We are working with an amazing zero waste hotel. They are separately collecting more than 90% of waste. We are digging with them through waste each month. We are weighing the waste. We are analyzing. So we are also doing different kind of research in this field. So yeah, zero waste is, I think, one of the most, how should I say, a concept in the field of circular economy that everybody can understand, as I said, because everybody from us is producing waste, and zero waste is also one of my lifestyles. I can admit, yes, I also produce waste, and yes, I also throw sometimes food away because our lifestyles are really, really bad for the environment. So sometimes it's not possible to do everything we can. But it's important to do each small step. It's important to educate. It's important to be influencers in our community. It's important to show the people, because I know that I'm doing much more than the most of the other people, because they don't know what to do, what is possible, what is simple, what is, that's it. I mean, zero waste is really a great opportunity to, it's not about waste only, it's also about communication, it's about cooperation. Zero waste is not possible if you don't work together on the local level. I cannot do it by myself, and you can also not do it. We have to have a community which strives towards a better environment.
Okay, that's very powerful, but there's one thing missing, I think. It's why people choose to go zero waste or to the new design, more improved. So it's the design, Matej. So design, eco-design, and zero waste. It's very important because with the design, we also have these emotions, you know?
Yeah, I mean, design is a concept of planning, so everybody plans in life. So basically everything is designed. When you look around, somebody had a thought on it and worked with it. And you have to understand that in the White Book of Circular Economy, on the second most important stuff for the change is design, but design in the way of planning. And that's what we are also trying to preach, that waste should be the next industrial material of the future. So how can we do it? The best way we can do it is with a good design. So initially we have to ask ourselves what is considered waste and if and how we can use it. Because today we talk about plastic, tomorrow we're going to talk about textile. What's going to be in 5-10 years when we're going to have a lot of electrical waste, how to reuse it, repair, and so on. So it's everything when we give the right thought at the beginning and not just producing without any knowledge how the life cycle will end. That's the good or bad design. And that's the only question. I mean, you have to understand that everything has the same value. Either it's made in China or in Slovenia. Either it's copied or designed. For the planet, the cost of a t-shirt is the same as produced in Europe or in China. It's just a thinking that in Europe we actually think of how to reuse waste, what's going to happen with it, how we're going to pack it, how we're going to brand it, how long it's going to last. In other countries, they don't. So when you do any kind of, because you have to understand, design is not just about products. It's also service, process, and communication. And designing products is the easiest. Service is more difficult. With designing processes, you can gain the most money because there's where the big money starts. And then, of course, designing communication is how you will influence others. And I always say that entrepreneurship, business, is nothing without a social impact. So every company has some kind of impact on the local or global society. So if you decide you're going to design it for the positive, then you can be on the winner's side. If you're going to design on the negative, then nobody's going to remember you through time.
It's a follow-up question to Bart. 40% of the plastic waste is packaging. Why is that material so successful? Because of the good design, or these people don't care? Because we are buying it, of course. It's just like a lack of effort to think a little bit outside the box, or it's just that it's a win-win, or it's that good material that it can solve everything for the cheapest price.
I think there are several elements here. For example, if you speak about food packaging, a few years ago, the European Union cancelled the one-time use of those plastic straws that you get at a package of juice in a supermarket or anywhere else. But when you buy this kind of package, now you have a paper straw. So apparently nobody was smart enough to just say, hey, we do not need those straws anymore. But now it's a paper straw. But where does this paper straw come in? There is a very tiny plastic packaging around the paper straw. So this gives a very nice example of how basically non-significant this kind of very big proposed solutions are. Now we're going to tackle one-time use small issues. If you come back to the, let's say, plastic waste that's swirling around in the oceans, I think even that the most substantial part are even fishing nets. So not even the plastic packaging that we use. So on the packaging part, I think if we want to change the usage of this plastic packaging, we should turn around the business models around the whole consuming of this packaging. The fact that we now have a make, use, dispose way of working. So whenever you're one-time use or short-time use, let's say shampoos, short-time use, and we throw this away as waste, I think this linear model is particularly a big opportunity when looking at plastic packaging, because the benefits of plastic as such, we should not forget. Without plastic, probably the majority of people would not be able to come on time in copper currently.
Yeah, but the plastic with a good design can be upcycled, recycled,
exactly.
So not to become a waste. It's not material.
Exactly.
It's not that.
So the business models around the usage of our goods, if it's a juice, if it's a shampoo, if it's water, I'm very happy we have one step in the right direction. We have glass bottles on the table. Better would be just a jar of water on the table. So rethinking business models in how to reduce this packaging. Not to replace the packaging with another packaging, but rethink business models. So making sure you go with your packaging to the shops, you fill your shampoo, you go home. Instead of wasting the packaging where it's
changing habits of us is not a business model. Some people will you have to buy something that you can last longer and so on, reuse. So what's the business model behind it? If we as an individual, we should pay more taxes that companies can pollute, we need to change drastically and buy stuff which is more expensive.
Indeed, because in the current business models that we have, the right price is not paid for the products that we buy. At the current, when I have these beautiful bins next to the house, without food waste, by the way, but all the others still I have. And I think we pay €5 per month, which is significantly too less, if you take in consideration what we do to the planet. So combining costs to the waste that we produce is definitely something that's currently not there. And when the right price would be paid for the products which create, let's say, one-time use plastic waste, then the question of, hey, what kind of business model is more profitable? I don't think that the current business model will be the one that wins in the end. So, but as long as we still all go to Primark around Christmas to buy a sweater for €10, and as long as we put our tomatoes and our
Please don't
apples,
do the commercials.
Don't
do this, right?
Okay, thank you. But I think naming and shaming is not that bad. As long as we put our bananas in a plastic bag at the supermarket because we still allow this to happen, I think people will not change by itself. So
So now I'll open the discussion also for the audience. So the questions, please just raise your hand. And also, the round table here, continue this debate. We are now going to the topic that it's interested for us, so for the remedies. How to get rid of plastic, microplastic, and so on.
I'd just like to address the big elephant in the room that nobody's addressing. Plastic was made to last for centuries. And somehow we're using it for seconds, minutes, every day. So I think it's a concept in life. And the second thing, we also have to know plastic is made from oil. And as long as oil companies will have interest in pumping oil from the earth and not recycling at least the product itself, the plastic, we'll have a problem. And I think there is a business model. It's not very popular. It's called degrowth. So it's something that we'll all have to look in the future. Economically, maybe some people will say it's not feasible. I think differently, because if we'll spend more energy on climate change, then of course it's going to be more and more expensive. But first of all, we have to think why the plastic was invented. And it was not invented for food packaging. So that's the first thing. And I think that's the major thing on education. plastic is used in a lot of industries for a very good cause, but for food industry is something that is, first of all, cheapest and most easy to use, but it's not the best solution. Because changing of habits, it's not that difficult.
So now I will challenge one of our motivational speaker, Andrej, Kržan. Do you have any comments on that as a part of the audience now? So you can get a microphone if you wanna. Yeah. So, and also others, if you have any questions for these guests or want to learn what we do good or how, or share your vision, what is in your country, what is good, what is bad, and where. Yeah, please, Andrej.
Very
Tap
interesting.
to the camera.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting discussion. I enjoy it very much. I think the question of degrowth and design, both that you've pointed out, are really very important. But I mean, if you look at plastics, I mean, I don't know what they were designed for, but to serve us. And they serve us really well. And without food packaging, plastic food packaging, there would be a lot of food waste, Katja, which you don't like. So plastics are doing something good. They serve a purpose, and they're really you said they're most efficient and they're cheapest. I mean, wow, that's perfect. I always say that plastics are a material, a very democratic material. It allows us to have all sorts of things which we might not need ultimately. We have too much stuff. But they allow us to have things. Without plastics, none of us would have a car, okay? And we would not, I don't know, change our skiing equipment quite that often. We wouldn't have all the great, sports gear and so on. Not many people would have them if we rely on, fur, feathers, wool, silk, and so on. Really great materials, but not everybody would have what we have today. So I think this is a serious issue, how to combine our comforts and what we as humans want. I think human nature is really what is not changing, and what we want to do with plastics, have less of them, so on. I mean, I always say we don't like plastics, but we use them all the time.
We don't like plastic waste. Plastic waste is the problem. This is ugly. Microplastic ugly.
Yes,
plastic as a material can be good.
But if you use plastics, they will become waste. Everything becomes waste. Everything in this room that we wear, that all these gadgets, it's a question of time. Packaging maybe in 5 minutes, this thing in 2 years, that thing in half a year, it just needs to fall down, break. It's waste. Everything. Everything. And that's the terrible thing. Oh, shut up.
Katja, you have something to...
Yes, that was a great comment, and I think really it's a question of time, but we have to prolong that time. We are not only living in an environment where we waste plastic, we even have single-use textiles. If we go to a fast fashion shop, the numbers of how many times a garment is worn are really shocking, even in the field of electronic cigarettes, for example. It's not, the plastics are not the problem, single use is the problem of any kind of the material. And yet, I would say regarding the food waste, yes, it's of course, speaking about climate, it's worse to waste food than the packaging. But there are also studies that are showing that the plastic packaging doesn't necessarily save the food. So I'm really trying to live a zero waste lifestyle. Each week I go to the farmer's market, and I I shop with packaging, but I shop with my own packaging. I shop with my glass packaging, reusable packaging. When I come home, I store the items as fast as I can and as responsible as I can. So yeah, packaging with food is important, but we have to look at it. How can those things be reusable and last longer? Plastic or not, paper, etc. We have to prolong those lifetimes.
Yeah, just to jump in, those kind of fights are quite normal in Slovenia. So we respect each other, but this is something when I have these beliefs and this belief. But at the end of the day, we manage to live in a very nice country.
No, I think that this is actually a very good debate because we have to talk about these things. We are talking actually about our comfort. The question that remains is, do we need to produce virgin plastic? That's the question. I mean, we need plastic for sure. I mean, that's not going to change overnight. But the question remains, do we still have to produce food packaging with virgin plastic? Because the food packaging, if I just put it like in perspective, is the most difficult to produce. And of course, is the most difficult to recycle, and is the most difficult to put back in the cycle for food packaging. And you only have a very short, narrow window to do it. Because if we throw it outside, with the oxygen, UV, it's going to be destroyed, and it's going to be very difficult to put back in the cycle for food packaging. But we have to ask, is there a process how we can change, like what Katja said? I mean, I even think for the big shops would be profitable not to have plastic packaging. Can you imagine like big bins and people come with their own packaging, put it in, it's going to be quicker, faster. And we have small shops like that. So we just need to persuade everybody else to do it. I think that's, we have some impact, but depends how big.
Okay, we're running on the time, so one short question from the audience, and then each one please wrap it up with your vision of the future without plastic. It's possible.
Okay, thank you. So we were talking about this need of at least reducing the use of plastic as we reach the conclusion that everything is plastic, and that will compromise also not only the technological developments, as our comfort, our daily life, but what is the biggest driver for the change? Do you think it will be the industry? And then we have here about the also, like the carrot in front of the donkey, that will be the matter of profit, like reducing also the costs, or the driver will be a new conscience from society that will pressure, that will really push for this change, and then policymakers will also attend to this pressure of the public sector, the society, where the drive that is needed will come from. Because we had an emergency, and you could see with COVID, for example, the development of the vaccine. It was an urgency that everyone felt, and it moved so fast, and we managed to do something that normally takes 10 years in a space of months. And we saw that we can do something about it with technology and innovation. But for this kind of issue, for the reduction of plastic, where the drive should come from, where the urgency should be created?
I think it's a layered process. What we see now with the let's say European Green Deal, they really want to push towards this kind of changes, but we should definitely take in consideration also now with the energy crisis that let's say oil countries are getting stronger and stronger. We now need to deal with countries like Saudi Arabia and countries who are mainly building on that fossil fuel. So there will definitely be a push top-down, and I hope that with all the financial mechanisms and missions, where also the Remedies project is part of Clean Oceans, these missions will definitely push the transformation in the right direction. I hope that also from the consumer part, that we really have initiatives like more sustainable clothing and NGOs who really bring this towards the people itself, that there will become a push towards either retail, either big supermarkets to really get rid of those products. But we should not underestimate the power of big, let's say, companies, which I shall not name anymore, Uroš, because the power of the bigger supermarket chains and, let's say, their suppliers are currently too big. And they did some testing, they do have some small corner of sustainable shampoos and stuff, but they do not move. And I think here we really need to find a systemic approach, include them, and make sure that they drive the change faster than they currently do. So progress will always be, but at one point in time also certain choices of either degrowth, political choices should be made and said, okay, we do not want, one example, in Slovenia we will not sell any more white goods without energy label AB. We can do stuff like this. We can even be a front runner in excluding plastic packaging one-time use on certain articles. These are things that we can definitely solve ourselves. And like you mentioned, the COVID period, we saw that when there is an urgency, governments can act really quick. And apparently we forgot the possibility of acting really quick, because now everything is back to normal and we act again as we did like a few years ago, and we act slow again, and we implement certain issues basically too slow. So I would also to, let's say, governments or any bodies who make regulations, we don't have time anymore to really let's include a little bit of science, let's include a little bit of NGOs. No, we don't have time. We really need to take action, because the next crisis will come faster as we think. We had in Slovenia, we have two great examples this year. We had the bushfires, and 1 month later we had the floods. And if this does not gives us a sense of urgency, then I also have no clue what should give us the sense of urgency. So I'm happy that, although we can discuss about the approach, the current government, at least on the, let's say, food value chain, which has a lot of emotions, I agree, is at least somehow attacked in a way of okay, we have a certain amount of urgency here, and we really need to do something.
Thank you, Bart. So the final question is for both members here from the scientific community. As a scientist against plastic, okay, I support zero waste and so on, no waste. But as a scientist, we create a lot of waste. Why? Because we are curious, we make experiments, and we have to have a repeatable result. You have to use, I will not say it. So, is this something that it's, in your opinion, as a facilitator of the scientific startups, if a startup is pursuing something that's more sustainable, zero waste, and so on, but also they should think about the development, this R&D approach, also to be like with the values that they will promote as a company.
I don't know if I understood the question right. Could you repeat the question again?
So, if I will develop a zero waste product from my lab, and people come in my lab, there's a lot of plastics. Everything you bought, it is containers and so on. So we cannot be zero waste. It's single use because it's scientific approach that if we cannot reuse stuff. So is this something that it's, as the one who promotes entrepreneurship, is this something that it's maybe good for the branding or bad for the companies? That's starting like this. Because, every research, every lab has this waste no one is talking about. But people coming to me and said, okay, you're promoting science against plastic, but you're not. maybe I already answered my question, but maybe your opinion, then Petra, the final one, because we have come with some great solution in our lab. We don't have any waste.
Well, of course, you need to also show by example. I mean, if you are promoting or making a research in sustainable technologies, and on the other hand, you are not behaving like that in your own lab, this, of course, can be an issue. I can say for our institute, we are separating different types of waste. We have solved that. I mean, we have procedures in institute for that. But of course, I mean, this is a matter of perception of each individual scientist. If he has a choice, if he can use device A, which is pollution, which is creating waste, and on the other side, he can use device or something which can be reused, of course, it could bring more credibility in what we do if we are using more of the recycled or materials which can be recycled. I have my memory when we are speaking later about these recyclable things. I still remember we were using in my youth plastic bags which were for one-time use, and we were washing them because it was simply difficult to buy them in the market. Probably this was one incentive, but also probably it was in our mind that we should do this because there is a lot of waste, and why did we do that? I mean, it was in our perception. And I'm looking at these bottles here. It was mentioned it's good that it's glass. I'm looking from the perspective of a customer in the supermarket. He's buying a bottle of glass of water, and there is a plastic bottle and glass bottle. And for example, it's the same price. Why one customer buys this one and the other customer this one? It's a matter of value perception of the customer. At the end, he's deciding on something. And these things which Katja and Ecologists without borders are doing, this is a great contribution to perception of the customers, because this needs to be done also in the producers of products. They need to embed the value for the customer, because of which they will choose more ecological products. And this is, again, a matter of innovation of business models, which we were talking earlier. And we need to all to do more in this sense. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
So I will just reply to you because I don't agree. Because it's not just replacing stuff with plastic, bioplastic, glass. Before, I have this bottle with me. I also have in all the videos. I went to the bar there. Can you refill me this bottle? What's the cost? We can travel around Europe, whatever. If the clean water, we have to fight for the clean water, not for the glass or plastic bottles. Right, Katja? Petra, your final word. How we are managing zero waste in our lab?
Yes, so first of all, I think that experiments are really important, so we shouldn't really cut down on that, but maybe we can plan better how we will manage these experiments. And also we have as well, we are putting waste separately. Yes, I don't know what you have in mind exactly.
Yeah, so we're doing zero waste solutions like your clothing
yes.
and so on. So we are collecting them. Why? Because later we will use them for recycling studies, for biodegradability studies. Why throw them away if it's there? The material, it's not wasted. It's there in our.
Yes. Yeah. So all the biomaterials that we produce, for example, if something is didn't came out good or something, we can still recycle it and maybe add something and so on, and like produce new material that works. So yeah, we are putting all these little pieces aside and we use them.
Yeah, that's the logic, and it's not a big mess at the end of the day, but still, it's just like thinking, how it will be in the real life. Okay, thank you guys. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. So let's continue with the program. Vesna, please. Okay, thank you. So now will be the motivational speakers. Few of them.
Welcome again. As we have mentioned several times today, all changes are about people. In order to transfer scientific solutions from lab to market and bring ideas to life, we need inspiration and drive and passion. That's why we invited 3 inspirational speakers to create a spark in you. The first one is Andrej Kržan. He received his doctorate in chemical sciences from Georgetown University. After that, he joined the National Institute of Chemistry in Ljubljana, where he focused on research on environmental aspects of polymers and plastics. He has been strongly involved in international projects focused on biodegradable plastics and their use. He also served as a coordinator of the D-Fish gear dealing with marine litter and microplastic in the Adriatic. Most recently, he joined PlanetCare, a startup company focusing on developing filtration solutions to prevent microplastics, fiber pollution, and he serves there as the chief scientist. As you might mention, he has a lot of spark for battling the microplastic in the sea, and now he will present us if we are about to lose this battle in fighting microplastics. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this introduction. And I would also like to thank Uroš for inviting me to talk to you. Yes, I'm a motivational speaker, but I'm starting to talk about us losing a battle. And let me try to explain why I'm saying that and why I think this might be a motivation. I'm coming from the National Institute of Chemistry, from the academic side of things, from the Department for Polymer Chemistry and Technology. And I'm coming from a startup, it was mentioned, PlanetCare, where we make filters for fibers that come from washing from our clothes. More than half of our clothes are made of plastics, fast fashion, for example, in particular, very much, and they shed fibers, they're plastic fibers that go into the environment. But let's continue. I have a long relationship to microplastics, and it started at the University of Nova Gorica with a student group that had a project, and I was their mentor. I think they started in 2010, and I think Andrea Palatinos is somewhere here over there. She was instrumental to actually get that group off the ground, and it was really very interesting. And, you know, I was extremely naive. I admit that, and I knew very little, obviously, because when the students first went out into this bay out here, you can see where they were gathering the microplastics, these transects, and this is, in fact, copper here. You know, I was worried, okay, what if they don't find any plastics? What are we going to do? You know, students have to have a result. What are we going to write? What kind of a report? We have to change everything. Well, I didn't have to worry because every sample they brought in contained plastics, microplastics. So I learned, and I had a doubt, and I no longer, especially now today, have any doubt that wherever we look, we will find plastics, and we will find very, 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 very small particles of plastics. Unfortunately, we found them, or scientists or researchers have found them in human blood, in human milk. We have them everywhere, in our lungs, under the chair, under our sofa, in our house, everywhere. There's an estimate that there's 14 million tons of microplastics sitting in ocean sediments. That's where they go. They don't float, they settle, and they go into the sediment. That's an estimate, 14 million tons. Microplastics, small particles smaller than 5 millimeters. And once we have them in the environment, we have no idea how to collect them. We don't have any method, we don't have any technology, we don't know how to do it. Once they're there, they're there. What are we going to do? Dig through the sediment and dig all the fish out and all the animals and so on? No. So the only option we have, at least for right now, is actually to prevent emissions. Okay? And I think this is quite a challenge. And this is where I come to the losing of this battle. And unfortunately, this is a very small plot. Yes, it's too small, I know. And this actually shows the growth in the consumption of plastics, production and consumption, because whatever we make, we then gladly use. And we're more than 400 million tons production this year, or in these years. And I think this blimp here, this blimp was the financial crisis. Everything was wrong and so on. That's the blimp. We're now here. We have another blimp that's not showing yet here, which is going to be Corona. It's going to be COVID. 2 years of COVID, we stopped everything, we used something less. And what is the prediction further on? Oh my God, look at that. That's the prediction further on. This looked like exponential. Now that's exponential. This is the prediction of how much plastic we will produce and use. And unfortunately, I think this is probably quite correct, unfortunately. And that brings me to this point here. Up here there are some numbers, I'm sure you can't see them, but it deals with all the thousands of tons or millions of tons of plastics produced. Most of them are still somewhere around. Some of them, and a lot of them, lost in the environment. Okay, so we will have more plastics. We have a population growth as well. Okay, so that starts making sense. We have a population growth and people need to have stuff, so we need plastics. We have the same pattern everywhere. This is aluminum, production of aluminum going up. Steel, very unsexy materials, not high-tech if you wish. They actually are very high-tech, but old, let's say. Steel, also growth. Even cement, growth. We have growth everywhere. Whoops, what did I do now? Did I? Oh, okay. Okay. We have this type of growth everywhere. We use energy in the same way. This is coal from 1960, I believe. It's not very clear, sorry, to approximately 2020, I think. Growth. Crude oil, so oil, gas, and that's actually cement down there. And it looks very small. That's a 10-time increase. We're using more and more of everything. And at the same time, we're talking we want to be sustainable, we want to reduce environmental burdens. We're not doing it. We are not doing it. And that's why I'm actually a little bit worried, to be honest. And the situation with plastics and microplastics remind me very much of the climate change issue. We know climate change is happening. I think a vast majority believes climate change is happening. We very often see all sorts of very weird happenings in the environment. No snow, I don't know, it was 12 degrees in Ljubljana for New Year's instead of being frozen and full of snow. Floods, fires, all sorts of weird stuff happening. And what are we doing? We're not actually doing anything. What I see, here I have some quotes from the IPCC. And to stop climate change, we want to go to CO2 zero. Now, who in this room managed to reduce their CO2 footprint significantly, I don't know, this year? Not this year, last year. I don't know, within 2 years. Uroš, I believe you. You're one of, what, 50, 40? Did we all? I don't know. Did we? Did you manage? It's not that easy. It's not that easy. We live lives. I have 3 children. They have all sorts of needs. I lead a normal life. I use plastics. I use energy, and so on. It's not that easy. Now, to go to CO2 zero, net zero, Wow, that is a task. I'm sure you're not CO2 zero. I am not. I would like to be. I'm not. But that's only to stop growing the CO2. If we want to reverse what we've done, we have to go negative CO2 balance. How are we going to do that? We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We can expect climate change to go on. And what we see, first they said, okay, it's okay that we go to a 1.5 degree increase in average temperature. Yeah, we passed that. Now we're at 2 degrees. 2 degrees are for sure. We've passed that. We're going to continue, I think. And these are the predictions. You know, without any climate policies, we're going to go up like that with the CO2 emissions. Hopefully, we can reverse it at one point and start going down. This is 2.5 to 2.9 degree change on average temperature. 2 degrees means, I think, between 2 and 6 meters of sea level rising. That means that we're sitting in water right now here already, okay, when that happens. If we go up, I think, 4 degrees, that's like 20 meters. If you take 20 meters out, I mean, there'd be a lot of flooding around the seas. So I don't think we're doing it. We're not doing it properly, and we're not reversing what we're making. I think it reminds very much of this movie. You've probably all seen it. I like it very much, and I think it's extremely symbolic of what we're doing. I see cars getting bigger. I see all sorts of stuff thrown away. Single-use plastics we're discussing. We had the COVID pandemic. What did we do? We threw tons of plastics all the time. Every test, packaged plastic, I mean, it was terrible. And we're trying to reduce single-use plastics. In the past 2 years, I think we produced more single-use plastic waste than before. At least I did, I think. So I think we have a problem. We have policies. We do have policies. We have a European strategy for plastics in a circular economy. Excellent. I would point out that plastics are the only material group that have their own strategy, and I think that tells a lot, actually. I think that's very, very telling. And out of this, what did we do? We reduced single-use plastics. Bart mentioned, I don't know where Bart is, Bart mentioned straws, plastic straws. That was part of that. We're trying to put together a global plastic treaty within the UN. And with great fanfare, last year sometime, I don't know exactly when, but last year, it was announced that they did agree that they will try to make a legally binding treaty by the end of 2024. So right now, we're cruising, we're not doing anything, we're kind of discussing what to do, really. So something is happening, but it will take some time. I mean, I spoke about climate change before. We have the Paris Accord, Paris Agreement from 2015. I don't know. We didn't reduce CO2 emissions very much. So I think we need to have a very drastic change in our approach if we want to make any significant impact and reduce microplastics. Microplastics are related to the amount of plastics that we put on the market and we use. They become waste. It's just a matter of time. They will all become waste. And part of that will get lost. There'll be more plastics. We will lose more. So, what can we do? Okay, how about if we make plastics more expensive? I always tell my students that recycling is an economic criteria, actually. If you can make a profit with recycling, you will recycle. If you can't, you won't. That's the whole magic. I mean, Everybody knows that there is no need for a national strategy to recycle, I don't know, gold, silver. That's not a problem. Everybody will take it, recycle it, collect it separately, and so on. So we can make plastics more expensive. We would use less, and also it would become a more valuable material. Can we make plastics, I don't know, five times as expensive as it is right now? Announce a, I don't know, 20, 30, 50% increase, yearly increase in the cost for the next 5 years. In 2030, plastics are 5 times as expensive. We would use less, and it would make sense to recycle it because it's more valuable. I don't know, just an idea. We could increase the price of fossil sources. I think if we increase the price of fossil sources, maybe something the Russians are helping us right now, we'll use less. It'll be expensive, we'll use less. That's good, I think. We need legislation as well. We really need it. It needs to be probably coordinated to avoid market disruptions. That's why we have a UN treaty. But I can tell you from my work with PlanetCare, we made a filter, and then we contacted washing machine producers, and they said, well, very interesting and very nice as well, but, we don't need to do it because nobody's demanding it from us, and it'll cost them more and complicates our life. So, I don't know, maybe sometime later. When France instituted a legislation, a law requiring filters in 2025, well, that got everybody's attention because they said, well, we'd like to still sell washing machines in France, so where's your filter? It's like, let's talk about it. So legislation does make a difference, and I think Bart mentioned a couple of things. You can legislate that, I don't know, you're not allowed to do something, or there will be a cost for something, or if it's a recycled material, you will get a, I don't know, bonus, or it will be taxed less, or whatever. Legislation is there for us to use, and it's a good tool. Plastics could be a controlled substance. We can say plastics are a hazardous material. Andrea proposed that, I know, many, many years ago, and I thought it was very absurd, but why not? Because we're not managing plastics. We are not in control of plastics. We're just using them, and we have no sense. We can also monitor items. I mean, they can have a barcode. We have great electronics. Every piece could have something on it, so you can monitor it. You bring it back, it's worth, I don't know, a cent or something. We can do that. I think we also need to look at alternatives for plastics. We need to mimic nature. Whatever looks like nature, behaves like nature, is good, in my opinion. And my most beloved example are proteins. And I think proteins explain really well what's wrong with plastics, or, where plastics are really very simplistic, despite, being high-tech and whatnot. Because it's a polymer, and it can be a soluble enzyme. It can be pliable. It can be, your muscle, your skin. It can be hard. It can be a claw, a nail, a horn. It's all protein. And it changes. We use the same building blocks, but it changes from being water-soluble to being very hard just because of the structure. We do not have such control over artificial polymers. When we make polystyrene, we take styrene and we polymerize it. No structure there, to be honest. Polyethylene, take ethylene, polymerize it, that's it. If you want it different, well, we'll take propylene, so I'll make polypropylene. This is really a challenge for polymer chemistry, biotechnology, structural biology, I think. We need to explore, science was mentioned, what we don't know about microplastics. For example, rubber particles. That is the #1 source of microplastics. Where are they? No study is showing them. Nobody's finding them. They're difficult to identify, I fully agree, but they're there and nobody is finding them anywhere or reporting them. Nanoplastics, they're kind of postulated. We can create them in the lab, but to find them out in the sea or in the sediment, nobody's doing that. We don't know how to do it, really. And of course, a lot of work on the effects of, not nanoplastics, sorry, microplastics. This is a long-term, low-concentration exposure that we're all participating in this experiment. And there are many synergies. We have many pollutants around, and we have no idea what the effects are on us, on different organisms. Oops, pressed something wrong again. Okay, so I said, we are currently losing this battle. I think you're starting a project, be radical, and prove me wrong. Please, do that. And let that be my motivation for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. For sure. But we only can do this together, also with everyone in the audience and everyone you know and everyone that they know, for sure. What I also got from this presentation is incentives are super important, also for the government. That's why our next speaker is a great representative of NGO who's doing exactly that. Katja Sreš is an environmentally conscious communicator and the president of the Ecologists Without Borders. She believes in the power of small steps and loves cooperating with journalists and creating content on waste management that is appealing. She is familiar with the whole spectrum on waste management challenge and zero waste, which will be the keyword of the following motivational speech, however, with a little twist. Katja will not be talking about zero, not about waste, at least not only. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Vesna. Thank you, Uroš, for the invitation, and thank you to all of you to spending this evening with us, getting motivated. I won't talk about crisis and numbers, but I will mostly talk about myself, because Uroš told me, yeah, you will talk about your organization in the round table. You have to tell us something about yourself. So my name is Katja Sreš, as already mentioned. I am the head of Ecologists Without Borders Association. And if there is somebody visually impaired, I am a millennial in my early 30s. I am 1.5 meters tall girl, clothed in second-hand clothes. So yeah, that's something about me. I'm also not CO2 zero or even negative, so I have to admit. But yes, I'm one of the world's first certified zero waste trainers. I'm a lecturer, I'm a head of projects. I also work in the field of microplastics. Unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about this great plastic pirates project, which I'm communicating to the Slovenian audience, but I'm happy to talk with you about that later. But yeah, I'm also a normal girl. I like to sing, I love rock music. I'm managing actually an NGO music school in Maribor, and I'm organizing music festivals, and I live with a musician and an adopted puppy from Croatia named Voli, so I'm totally normal. I have to stress that out because it's so funny when I talk to people and everybody is so scared to talk about waste. I don't know if you were present here before, but at the round table everybody was saying, okay, we are separately collecting our waste. I mean, it's okay, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm 1.5 meters tall, so I won't eat you, believe me. So yeah, as Vesna already said, we are not going to talk about zero waste, at least not only. Because zero waste, it's not about waste, it's not about zero, it's about you and me and our community. Because we will have waste in our lives. We are already talking about digital waste. We are making digital cleanups of applications on our mobile phones, of newsletters that we don't read. We are already talking about waste in space. So there will always be waste. There will be new materials. So that's not the point. It's the point what we do with it and how we try to prevent it, how we try to prolong the lifetime of items we are surrounded with. And it's not only about waste, as you will see on the next slides. It's about paying attention. In my work, yes, I dig through trash. I open up trash cans. It can be funny traveling with me, especially in other countries, looking what's happening with the waste. I can mostly not visit a hotel or an event, not noticing some waste stuff. For example, I don't know if there would be plastic bottles. I would say that to an organizer that I won't drink from that plastic bottle. I mean, it's wrong. I'm working for an NGO. It's quite successful in Slovenia, and it's important how people perceive me and what I am doing in the public. So yeah, we have to pay attention. We have to point out the good things, point out the bad things, call them out, so that the best things can shine in our society, that we can learn from them, that we can get motivated. So yeah, maybe just a remark, this is probably more a motivational speech for all those who will be responsible for the dissemination of the results of this project. So I'm happy also to help with this in Slovenia. It's also, zero waste is also about empowering the community. This photo was taken on the 29th of September last year. I don't know if you know which environmental day do we celebrate on the 29th of September. Okay, you are the plastic guy, so yeah, it's Food Waste Awareness Day. So yeah, it was the guy on the left side, it's the mayor of one of our zero waste municipalities, Škofja Loka, and I got them to come to the Škofja Loka farmers market, where we put up a table and we had an exchange of canned and fresh food because it was overflowing there. The farms are full of food. So we said, okay, let's talk about food waste in a different manner. Let's bring people to the market. Let's just talk about it. And it was hugely successful. And even the mayor came with his marmalade and they exchanged those things. So yeah, we have to engage the community. We have to go to such events, speak, connect with people. It's really, really important. What is funny about me, I love to go for a good beer with my friends in the evening, but I never point out something from my work. I never talk about waste. I mean, I'm managing a music school. I'm working with rock musicians. There are some more interesting topics. But my friends are always coming to me and saying, oh, I went to a second-hand shop, and it's like, yay, high five. Or they say, oh, I went to the market with my own bag, and I say, yeah, that's amazing. But I never try to just tell the people that's wrong or what they have to do it. They have to come to those ideas by themselves, and they have to implement them by themselves. But if they see something good from me, I think that's the impact I can make in this world. Zero waste is about working with amazing people. I mean, I have the job of my life. I'm here working now since my student years, almost 10 years now, Ecologists Without Borders. So yeah, I came across so many amazing people like you are. Yeah, mostly, unfortunately, still we are seeing all the same faces talking about the same topics, but it's getting better. It is, believe me. And yeah, that was a Christmas dinner with the Zero Waste Hotel Ribno in Slovenia. That is the first worldwide certified zero waste business. We helped to implement this certification, but I mean, it's a good media attention trick to have a certificate, and it's good for the competition to have a certificate. But for the owner, Matej, here on this picture, it's not important. He's doing that from the year, I think, 2017, as we went together to Sorrento, Italy, to take a look at those zero waste practices. He says it's the only way we can do it. And that's why you can see all the wooden things in the hotel. He's doing that by himself. And they even recycle the wooden leftovers to make pencils. I mean, they are crazy. Each time I come to visit, I see something new. And it's really, really remarkable when you have a group of such amazing people. As I already said, we work with municipalities. We so far have 16 zero-waste municipalities, covering almost a quarter of Slovenia. Together, they yearly prevent for around 4 million euros of money because they are doing a good job with the waste. So, yeah, there are also other impacts. And I see that the community in those zero-waste municipalities is much more connected. There are events, they are very well-visited events, so yeah, it has an impact on many, many different ways, not only waste. And it's about excellent communication. I have a master's degree in strategic communication, so I'm quite biased, and I'm the head of public relations in our organization. So I'm really aware how to communicate and what's important. And yeah, we sometimes have really to exaggerate. That's, for example, the passport, zero waste in the zero waste hotel. I mean, it has to be written, it has to be communicated, but it doesn't need to be always connected to the environment, to the climate change. You can communicate with people by saying, like, if you're in a hotel, and there you have the thermostat for the temperature. You don't need to write, okay, the polar bears will thank you if you don't turn up the heating. But you can write, for example, our guests are the most comfortable at this and this temperature. If you turn it lower, for example, in summer, you can get a cold, and you don't want to get a cold in summer. So there are different ways, there are different. We have to know a bit about the psychology of people and our target groups. And it's about creativity. We have so many informations, we have so many news that we have to follow. So we have to sometimes make little actions, stunts. That's, for example, in Brussels, in front of the, I don't know, was it the Commission or the Parliament? It doesn't matter. But with the Break Free from Plastic network that we are the Slovenian representative, we made a huge action with a dragon. Here you don't see it, but that was the way we were talking about waste trade, for example. It's really important to be creative, to talk about those things, to get the media attention and to get the social media attention. And it's about having fun. I mean, in those environmental circles, those are bad topics. I mean, I'm already going to, each month we have in our plastics NGOs group, we have a mindfulness session because some people are witnessing environmental depression. It's really, I mean, it's bad because we are each day bombarded with numbers, with statistics that are bad. And as Andrej said, we are not really doing good. So, yeah, we have to help ourselves and have some fun. And if there's somebody from Slovenia here, they can probably recognize those are stand-up comedians. And they were my guests at my music festivals. And they got, it's not visible that much, but they got reusable water bottles. Because my mission for this year is that I try to persuade as much musicians in Slovenia to eliminate those plastic bottles from the stages. So I will give all of them a huge bottle, reusable, and they have to write it in the riders for the organizers. So yeah, it can be fun. It has to be fun so we can engage people. And it's about me and you. I mean, yes, somebody when we were talking about the round table was telling, people in the shop are, when they're looking at a plastic bottle and a glass bottle and they're deciding what's more comfortable. Of course a plastic bottle is more comfortable to carry, but I have better arguments. I carry this is a beer basket of reusable beer bottles. Yes, Slovenian brands, of course. I'm carrying this box in the fourth floor of my apartment, and it's not a problem for me. Why? Because I don't have waste. I don't have to carry then those plastic or can bottles to the waste side. So it's easier on one side, and of course, beer from glass bottle is better than from cans, of course. So yeah, we have to be. It sounds cheesy, but the change we want to see in the world. I am in second-hand clothes. I do all the things that I can. I will go to an event and, post something on social media that's good, or see a practice of a company that's good or bad, and just, let people know what is possible, what they can do, what is manageable. And it's about the community. I cannot do it by myself. You cannot do it by yourselves. We have to do it together, and I'm really, really grateful to have such a great team of people who are all living and thinking the same, and we are together exploring new possibilities. And maybe to go back to your question at the end of the round table, what I want maybe for the future, or how could we maybe change the tide. I think, we are living as a society in a triangle. We have the civil society, we have the companies, the business, and the decision makers. I think that in each of those groups, there are amazing individuals and organizations already working and dealing with those problems. I think we are those people. And it is in our hands that we persuade our friends, for example, as me as a representative of the civil society, Matej as a representative of business, to go to talk to his business friends, decision makers, that they go and talk to each other so that we enlarge the group of like-minded people, that they can then get together and make really impact and the change. And sustainability takes forever, and that's the point. So it's a journey, it's a path, and we have to step on this journey together. So thank you very much that you gave me the opportunity that I could show you the best of me. So thank you.
Thank you, Katja. That was definitely very inspiring for everyone who's looking the next small step to change their lifestyle, because this is how it starts, and then you just go forever, basically. And it is all about building a community, which is what we also learned already on the first day of our kickoff meeting of the project Remedies. So the last speaker, Uroš Novak, will be speaking as the coordinator of the project about the mission that we have. He is an experienced researcher skilled in R&D, startup development, chemical engineering and science with more than 10 years of experience. He is an author of 40-plus scientific articles and speaker at more than 100 events, and is above all passionate about transforming science into practical solutions. For these reasons, he is a co-founder and a CTO in 2 startups and the coordinator of the BioApp platform, as well as the coordinator of the Remedies project. The floor is yours.
What do you see in this picture? A girl with an earring. What do you think of it? Is the earring heavy? It's too big? Where can I buy it? But does anyone you think for what kind of material it is? You see? When we see something unique, we appreciate and question the aesthetics. But we rarely talk or question ourselves about the material. It is time that we as a society accept that there are alternatives to plastic which are superior in terms of versatility, sustainability, and aesthetics. My name is Uroš Novak. And I'm the coordinator of the mission. Our mission is that this will not become our future. 10,000 liters of air is going through our lungs every day. So far, the microplastic concentration in air, it's not so big. So it's not that many, has not been impact on the environment, on the climate. But in the future, due to a lot of plastic waste out there, this will change, it will increase. We have to stop it, we have to find a solution, because the air is the component that we can survive with, like even in the minutes. We can survive without water a few days, but without air, it's very important. We have 3 homes. We have our body, our mind, and our planet. We have to take care of all of them. Most of you are not aware, but we are going to a new type of society, Society 5.0. What does this bring us? This brings us the combination of well-developed innovation, society, and option that everyone can choose their own lifestyles, their own values. They can follow other people, influencers, and so on. We are all connected. When you're going to search something in Google, they already know what you want. They will remind you in the other app that you open. So artificial intelligence is helping us because we are so very connected. We are exchanging so many of personal information with us that we cannot handle anymore. So we need artificial intelligence to help us. So, and this is Society 5.1. To be individual, to be who you are. It's okay. Be who you are. Okay? What the mission is all about. Why the EU chose this program? They want more of that, keep doing that, start doing that, stop doing that, less of this. But let's put in the word of the Commission. It's not a fresh start. It's a new place, or a fresh start isn't a new place, it's a new mindset. Nothing will change if something is written on the paper or in the legislation or in the call. It's on us to change. It's our minds to change. And what we are working on, what is our goal? Filling the knowledge and emotional gap is very important. We have to educate people. Maybe we are more fortunate to know more about this. We are exploring this. We have to communicate this to the public. If it's good, if it's bad, it is what it is. Zero pollution, my favorite. Why pollute something? Because if it's pollution, that means that we do not cherish the material enough. The material becomes a waste. It's a bad design. Revamping the government, so improvements. Regenerating marine and freshwater ecosystems is very important. You know how oceans are important. They produce 50% of our oxygen and also our rich source of our food. Decarbonizing our oceans, seas, and water, also very important. Of course, I'm very happy to have you as my partners in the consortium, but we need help. We have to embrace the help of the citizens. We have to educate them. We have to be aware that changes happens with replication and gathering more people, joining your values, joining your efforts, joining your ideas, and so on. This is the remedies in 3 pictures. Zero waste, having smart artificial intelligence to pick up, collect, pinpoint, and then help us to collect the big pieces, small pieces of plastic. And then we have to teach people that this is material that they can use. Not that they can throw away or just, it's not my responsibility. I recycled or I picked from the beach cleaning the material. No. We will do the program that they can volatilize this material. So it's still good material to be used for some applications. That's the goal of the Remedies. Bio-based, biodegradable, compostable plastic, it's still plastic. Recycled plastic, is it better than normal plastic? It's still plastic. It will still, in some cases, last forever. Compostable is a very slippery term. Depends where. At the bottom of the ocean? I guess not. So, we will make our material precious. So, we have some entrepreneurs among us also in this consortium. I'm very happy to convince them to part-time work also for Remedies. But they are seeing this opportunity. We have such an amount of this waste. It's there. No one is taking care of. And you will get even more of that. So it's like continuous source for it. So stop worrying, share, make a business plan. It's a great opportunity for this consortium to start build on. Horizon missions also have cascade funding. That means, those who were listening before the roundtable and this speech is speeches from Katja and from Andrej, we have something to share also to other regions that are not part of this consortium. We have to show them that it's possible. We have to show them that they can follow our lead. And that's why we have 2 open calls, €500,000, and we will share this knowledge. We want that people start replicating us. We are doing good. The future is in our hands. What those kids are holding is this. What is this? It's something that we are developing, something that we will show the kids that they can use food waste or edible components, starch, alginate, cellulose, other polysaccharides, to make those kind of materials. It's completely edible, safe. You can wash it under the sink. You can put it in the ocean. But most importantly, for the business perspective, is that to recycle it, reuse it, you don't need harsh treatment. You just dissolve it and mix it in the water and then dry it again. We don't create any waste in the lab. Everything from experiments is in those jars. So after a few years, we decide, now we will do study of the recycling, biodegradation. So thanks to this project, also we have now a group working just on that. We have our materials as a comparison to conventional plastic, and we're building a science on the waste that we created during the years. We don't have that much, maybe like few boxes. Still, this is how we call it also to be sustainable in our lab and achieving zero waste lifestyle. That's my mission. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Uroš. So what is your mission? I'm sure each has their own, but you're all very welcome to join our mission of the Remedies project, because one of our goals, because it is extremely ambitious, is create a movement, which means that we need everyone on board. First, obviously, we're going to start with early adopters, and then at some point, we will reach everyone, hopefully. Thank you for your attention, and I wish everyone a very lovely evening. And you're also all very welcome to already now search for Remedies on social media. So far we have Facebook and LinkedIn open, but surely we will appear everywhere very soon. Thank you so much and have a nice evening. Bye.